So I saw this story uh, about an admiral who made this lecture, and he said something about sailing. Right? He's an admiral, and he mentioned like, if you like sailing, go sailing now. Talking to people in like their 20 and 30s. Don't wait until you're retired. Right? I'm retired, and I'm too tired for this shit. I'm selling my boat because I'm old and like I need peace. Right? So go sailing now. Moral of the story: do it now. Your body won't allow it when you're old, and I think that that's strong advice. It's not reverse retirement. It's not, hey, don't work at all, don't make money. But if you're gonna do the shit, do it while you can. Like, don't say you're gonna do it, and even if you have to pre-plan something a year in advance, 2 years in advance, whether you're saving for it or PTO or you have young kids that need to get a little older, whatever it is, do it. Do that experience and don't save it for later, because the other side of the coin, and like you mentioned, Nick, is passing while you're young. I know, unfortunately, again, we talked about this before, but I know too many people whose parents have passed at a young age. We see it all the time in the news where people in their 20s or 30s are passing away, freak accidents or freak health scares. Well, again, I saw another story where somebody was like, yeah, my mom died in her 30s and she didn't get to travel, and everything that she wanted to do, when I retire, I'm going to do this. When I'm retired, I'm going to do this. She didn't make it to retirement. And that daughter, who was in her 20s, was like, you know what? I decided I was going to live my life and go travel and do this and form these relationships and do everything that my mom wanted to do, and have not an ordinary life, but I'll settle down in my 30s or in my 40s. But I'm going to do everything now and live while I'm young.
If you can afford it. I think going into debt when you're young is the biggest mistake that
Hmm.
you can make. You spend years clawing out of that debt, and it could, if if you're not lucky, it could follow you forever. So that part of it, it's just be smart about it. If
Hmm.
you're gonna go do that, just be smart about it. Don't, like you said, plan it. I might I might eat cheese sandwiches all year, but I'm gonna go to Tokyo at the end of it. You sacrifice to doing something like that. I think it would be amazing. It's the
Yeah.
going into debt aspect, and I don't know how you travel. How, at least for me, how I would want to travel in my 20s. I just don't see how that
Right.
would have worked. I'm not a nomad. I can't just put a backpack on and just go and, go with a hope and a prayer if I have a place to sleep and things like that. So backpacking across Europe wouldn't be a thing. So I'm glad, now I have this perspective, like do it now. Just
Do it
even,
smart.
being a product of someone who's, my father passed away, like, I still wasn't like, "Oh, I need to go do all of this stuff because he didn't." And now I'm at the age that he did die, and I'm like, "Huh, should probably start doing some of this stuff just in case, just in case I don't make it." And
What's
I think
what's
a
what's
lot.
that like on a different
Oh,
perspective? To be as old as your father
weird.
was when he passed. Do you think
It's
about that a
weird
lot?
all the time.
Mhm.
This is odd, my whole I mean, I was 12, so 38, so 26 years of dreading being 38. And
Mm.
it was always a joke. I would laugh when I said it, but I think at a certain point I meant it. Like, I gotta beat him. Like I gotta, especially after I had Sam. I was like, I gotta do everything I can to make sure
Right.
I beat him. But yeah, no, all the time. Part of the reason, I started, losing the weight or just trying to be a healthier version of what I was that he had a heart attack, 80% blockage in one of his arteries.
Right.
And so I did a bunch of research on how arteries clog, all that. And when you find out, simple sugars inflame your arteries, and that's how cholesterol gets stuck. It's like, oh, not having high cholesterol which I don't. But if you have high cholesterol, it's not the end of the world. It's when your arteries get so inflamed that nothing can pass through them. And
Hmm.
that's unfortunately, like I said, processed shit causes that a lot. But yeah, all the time. Being the same age as that is kind of weird, but we'll see. I mean, we'll see how long I get.
I think that later is one of the most dangerous words that people use, and they
Hmm.
spend their best years preparing for a life that they might not even get to live. And on a small scale, I had always wanted to go to Thailand. And in my 20s, I made that happen. And I think there's a lot of trips that I have in mind and in this life. And like you said, you have to make sure that you can afford it. But even something small as in a non-joking way, the Backstreet Boys trip for me is something I've been talking about for like a year or two, ever since they
Hmm.
started this tour and the Sphere residency. And it came out in January that they might be done. Then they announced more dates, and I was like, you know what? I have to go to this. Like this, whether something happens with me personally, financially, or the Backstreet Boys just end up stop doing this residency and now it's no longer a thing. Like, what if I miss this? Let me make this a point, and it's there. Let's make it happen. Let's not miss out on this. Is
Yeah,
there
no, I'm
something that you've been waiting or saying that you'll do eventually, but you haven't done yet?
uh, well, yeah, a lot. There's a ton. But what I was gonna one of the examples I was having of like why you shouldn't put things off was I wanted to see Alan Stone when he was in Florida in November, but then I was like, oh, he's gonna be in Brooklyn the day after my birthday, so I was like, oh, I'll rather see him in Brooklyn with Jess. So I was like, oh, I'll put it off, and then December rolls around, can't end up getting into Brooklyn, so I don't end up seeing him. And then
Hmm.
it's like now I can't see Alan Stone without seeing Chris Stapleton, and I'm like, I really don't want to see Chris Stapleton, but and then I looked at the prices. I'm not seeing Chris Stapleton, just to see Alan Stone. And then he was here again in Florida at the Strawberry Festival, or no,
Hmm.
he was in Eustis for George Fest, and I had to be in Savannah that weekend. So I'm like, I shouldn't have put off the time in November when I could have seen him at the House of Blues. I should have
Yeah.
just went, even if it was by myself. It wouldn't have been, but I should have just went. And yeah, I mean that's one that is really just recently been chapping my ass. But Portugal's a big one. One of my frat brothers moved there 5 to 10 years ago at this point,
Yeah.
and he's, anytime we've talked, he's like, "Yeah, come whenever you want," type stuff. And I even have a Google alert to let me know when plane tickets get under a certain amount. And I mean, I see him all the time, weekly, uh, and it's just like, yeah, yeah, I'll get there, I'll get there. But it's been a constant. Oh, maybe this year or maybe this year, but like I said, up until the end of last year, I didn't even have a passport, so it wasn't even realistic.
Yeah.
Now, now that I have a passport, I've started looking, and it's like, oh, I can get to I can get to Costa Rica for $200. I can get to these places, at least the southern hemisphere, relatively cheap, being where we live. So
Yeah.
I've started my research. When Jess is here, actually this coming weekend, we're going to be talking about where we want to go. We're trying to take a trip before June, so
Awesome. Well,
seeing that and
I hope you do
be
it.
my first international. Oh, I mean, we will. I just don't know where yet. You'll be the first to know.